Sorry for the delay, I've been busy with some matters but we haven't come to talk about me, so here I bring you the chapter of this story. With nothing else to say I leave you with the rest. The silence that changed Cote reaction. Chapter 4, The Pawn That Won the Game, Part 2. The worst strategy, seen by ordinary eyes, is sometimes the only one that knows the language of success. While Lord was impatiently waiting for the 20-minute break to end, the students were enjoying their snacks. Although 6 students were burning their brain cells, that's right, the 6 students who were going to be expelled were studying like sick people again. The reason, simple, tomorrow would be their midterm exams and if they fail then they would be expelled. Even though they are now engaged in the activity of watching videos, this doesn't mean they've finished their exams. On the contrary, they'll continue, and seeing what their future holds made them more than worried. Sudo, well, I've improved a bit with some courses now, but I'm still doing poorly in English, he said while holding an English book, even though he didn't understand anything about the language. The other 3 students, good for you Sudo, we've already improved in almost all the courses, we just failed in math, they said while doing some math problems that were in the books. Shit, you guys are doing well, I still have like 5 more courses to learn, he said while studying the 5 books at the same time as the courses he still needed to improve. Yamauchi, this is fucking shit, I don't understand anything, but I'm sure I'll get it before the exams because I'm the best, he said with such self-confidence that it was embarrassing even for his classmates sitting next to him. For those who hate Yamauchi, don't worry, you already know what will happen in the exams hahaha. Meanwhile, on the other side of the gym, Ryan and his lackeys were having a peculiar conversation. Ibuki, damn idiot, you'll get me for hitting you. Even though minutes had passed, Ibuki was still resentful about what would happen in the future. Kanzuki, calm down Ibuki-san, Ryan-san hasn't hit you yet. What Kanzuki said only increased Ibuki's anger, but Shina intervened to calm her down. Shina, calm down Ibuki-san, that hasn't happened yet and Ryan couldn't do anything to you, he said with a reassuring voice that calmed Ibuki little by little. Ryan, cuckoo, that Sundari finally calmed down. What Ryan said made Ibuki a little angry, although she managed to calm down. Meanwhile, in the minds of some students, they continued to analyze and theorize about the results of the island's exam. Monobu's mind, the way things are going, Class C will win the survival exam. He theorized this since after seeing a bit of Ryan's strategy he made the most accurate conclusion. Koenji's mind, ho, it is too obvious that Dragon Boy will win that exam, clearly by luck, since the perfect existence will not participate. He thought this with the same self-confidence as always. Sakianagi's mind, fufu, it is more than obvious that Ryankan will win. How sad will be the loss of Katsuragi-kan, but when you are an incompetent leader what can you do? He thought this while discreetly looking at Katsuragi. Morishida's mind, and not even his shiny bald head will save him from Lacinto Class C. While he was thinking this he didn't notice that Lord was laughing internally at his thoughts. Matsushida's mind, it seems that Class C will win the exam, but by how many points, and more than that what will happen in our class in that exam? She tried to make hypotheses, but none of them convinced her. Shiraishi's mind, Katsuragi-kan made the mistake of trusting Ryankan. It is more than clear that he will betray him. While analyzing this he did not notice the gaze of Lord who was sitting next to the projector. Lord's mind is so, even though your memories of the past have been blocked, you still retain the skills acquired in the White Room. Irasuka Oshold, I say, Yuki, this is what I thought when reading Shiraishi's thoughts. With a few minutes left, the students returned to their seats, and when the time was up, Lord began to speak. Lord, okay students, let's continue with the video, and without saying anything else he resumed the video. Inside the screen. Location, uninhabited island, second day of survival. With the arrival of dawn it was already day 2 of the survival test. All classes passed it in a different way. Class A remained cautious, Class B helped each other in addition to having welcomed a student from Class C, and finally Class D was upset. The reason was because yesterday Koenji had withdrawn from the island and therefore losing 30 points. Although Ibuki had been accepted before this, many suspected she was Aspi, but Kushida convinced everyone to help her. On this second day, Kushida and Horikita went to explore the other classes, although when they arrived at Class C, they were surprised by what they saw. Class C was enjoying their vacation. It was obvious they had used up all their points. Horikita, it can't be, what is Class C thinking, he said in disbelief upon seeing Class C's camp. Kushida, I don't know, but it seems fun, don't you think, Horikita-san? She was surprised although she didn't drop her mask. Before Horikita could respond, they were stopped by a student from Class C. Student from Class C, hey you two, Ryan told me he wants to see you, he said this while looking at the girls. They hesitated for a few seconds and then went to where Ryan was sitting comfortably in a chair. Ryan, cuckoo, hello Class D, why have you come to our camp? He said this without paying much attention to them. Horikita, you seem to be living the good life and it seems you've already spent all your points, he said, scanning his surroundings. Ryan, what a miracle that a defect like you noticed it. This is our vacation and we are going to enjoy it to the end, right? He said to his companions who were kneeling on the ground. The three kneeling ones, why yes, Ryan-san, they said with fear. Kushida, Ryan-kun, can I ask you why you kicked Kaneda-kun and Ibuka-san out of your camp? He asked with his same mask as always. Ryan, those two, they wanted to tell me what to do and that's why I kicked them out. Since a ruler doesn't need disobedient servants, that's why I gave them an appropriate punishment. While saying this he was eating meat on a stick. Horikita, and that punishment is to beat them and then expel them from your camp. He said this with the same cold tone as always, although it was more because he called it a defect. Ryan, cuckoo, I don't know who you are, princess, but no one tells me how to rule my class, he said while staring at Horikita. I remind you that Sudo's trial didn't happen and that's why Ryan doesn't know Horikita. Kushida, there's no need to be so hostile, he said this with feigned discomfort. Horikita, this was a waste of time, I'd better go. Without anything else Tosui, Horikita left the place followed by Kushida. When Ryan saw that they left, he immediately received a call on the intercom and it was none other than Kaneda. Kaneda call, hello Ryan-san, I have already discovered the leader of Class B. Without saying anything else Kaneda told him who the leader of Class B was. Ryan, so that girl, cuckoo, it's obvious they didn't suspect anything. Good job Kaneda, you already know what to do. Without saying anything else he cut off the call. Ryan, cuckoo, how easy this exam is, and saying this he lay back down on his chair. Off screen. Everyone saw how the classes had different appearances, although what caught their attention was Class D. Karuizawa, why do we seem to be angry? He said this when he saw how angry she and the others in her class were. Shinohara, it's true, because we seem kind of frustrated, he said, having just realized how angry she and her on-screen colleagues were. Many students in Class D were also wondering, but Lord answered their doubts in a mocking tone. Lord, it's simple, the perfect existence Koenji retired which made them lose 30 points, as each word penetrated the ears of Class D, the reactions were not long in coming. Class D, what that narcissist did what? These words came out of almost the entire Class D at the same time as if it were rehearsed. Al thought it was just a coincidence, but the idiots didn't even react since they continued studying, except Yamauchi. Sakiyanaji mind fufu that student is very funny and impossible to control, I thought while watching the scene. Horikita's mind tch seriously why did they have to put me in this kind of defects, he thought while frowning. Asterisk hey Horikita, you were really arrogant in your first year asterisk. Koenji, ho, it's just peasants, I've decided to enjoy my perfect existence, my vacation, he said with the same confidence as always, without paying attention to the murderous looks of his companions. Asterisk I always enjoy writing Koenji's dialogues asterisk. Ryan, cuckoo, so the narcissist made the defects lose 30 points on the first day cuckoo, while Ryan laughed at the misfortune of Class D, the video continued playing. What followed next puzzled most of the people in the room. Ryan's class had used up all their points, although of course that's what it looked like. Kanzuki, he really doesn't plan on winning that test, as he said this skeptically, his class leader began to speak. Ikanos, it seems so, although the exam is about the freedom to choose, and it seems that Ryan decided to enjoy his vacation with his classmates she said this with an incredulous laugh while a drop of sweat ran down her soft cheek. Hashimoto, it's obvious they are having a blast, he said as he noticed Adrian's class playing on the beach, enjoying food and sunbathing.
Sakayanagi's mind fufu, so Ryankin is planning a .0 strategy, huh? Not bad, Dragon Boy. While thinking this, he unconsciously smiled at the fun of it. Shiraishi mind, so that's your strategy, a .0 strategy. Even thought first glance it seems like a bad move, but it's clearly a feint, I thought as I came up with the answer. Shinohara, they are having fun, and we are suffering on that stupid island, he said, complaining about the unfairness of the situation. Hirata, now more stable, although the difference was noticeable by his appearance, began to speak. Hirata, at least will gain a few class points, he said with a semi-dark look and without his usual smile that only scared his simps. Karuizawa's mind, I don't like the way Yusuke-kun looks, though it doesn't matter as long as he can protect me. Katsuragi, so, it was true that you hate hard work, eh Ryan, he said this while not looking at how Ryan had a mocking smile. Ryan, of course Johnny, I prefer to enjoy the summer sun cuckoo, Hezade with his same mocking smile as always. Koenji's mind ho so Dragon Boy's strategy is to betray Johnny Boy by making him believe that he shouldn't participate, even though his glorious superiority was more than evident to me, while he thought Faith continued admiring himself in his mirror, boasting to himself about how perfect he was. Horikita's mind, how ridiculous what Class C is doing, although it's better, this way they won't be another obstacle, while thinking this headed and noticed Lord's mocking smile. While the others like Class C, some were upset by what Ryan did, others happy because of how much fun they had, others like Class A most thought they were going to win that test, others like Class D didn't even think that, the vast majority were upset by what Koenji did in addition to finding out that Ibuki was accepted into their camp, and others like Class B were happy to know that Class C, considered the most treacherous and violent, would not participate in that exam. Monobu's mind, a .0 strategy where you win nothing, but you also don't lose anything, is a good strategy, although I have a feeling there's 7 more to that strategy, considering the class spies. While analyzing all this, he came up with the most accurate hypothesis. As the video progressed, some people, like Ryan, laughed out loud. Ryan, knew it, he knew that the love and friendship class would not hesitate to accept a possible spy without suspecting anything, and on top of that he already discovered his leader, he said this while mocking the most supportive and at the same time the weakest class. Class B had no opinion since those words were true, they knew each other and would accept Kaneda without suspecting that he was a possible spy. Kanzuki was frustrated or rather angry as he clenched his fists in anger. Kanzuki, damn, were we really that careless and stupid to accept him into our class? He whispered to himself, not noticing that Ikanos had heard him. Ikanos, you shouldn't say that, Kanzaki-kun, calm down, even if that was going to happen, we'll recover, he said this with the same naivety as always. Class B, Hanami-san is right, we won't let ourselves be defeated so easily, Kanzaki-kun, they said this encouraging their partner, which worked, although a small part of him was still frustrated, but he hit it in time. Lord's mind, how naive if they think they can even win something, although it doesn't matter since later they will see the fall off higher class and Class D. While he was thinking this, he noticed that Koenji was watching him with a smile, realizing that he sensed what would happen, although for the moment he didn't pay attention to it. While all this was happening, the screen continued to play, slowly showing Ryan's true play. Inside the screen. Location, uninhabited island boat area, day 2 of survival. As dusk slowly enveloped the island, Class C gathered their things and then headed to an area where a boat was located, which was responsible for transporting them to and from the island. The teachers were on that boat, and when they saw Class C approaching the boat, they were a little surprised. Mashima, Sakagami, why are your students approaching with their things in their hands, he said to his co-worker. Sakagami was already somewhat aware of Ryan's plan, so it didn't surprise him that much. Sakagami, I don't know, but it seems they want to withdraw from Tedest. As he said this he watched as the leader Ryan Kakaru was the first to approach. Ryan, Sakagami, these useless people want to retire since they can't stand this island any longer. As he said this he had a smile that didn't get noticed by the teachers. Mashima, how do you disrespect your teacher? You also know that withdrawal will cost you all your points for this test, plus a few more for class. Sakagami, I don't think so, Mashima, you know the rules don't specify anything when a class uses up all of its points, he said this while looking at Mashima with a smile. Mashima, upon hearing this, knew what it meant, that points cannot be subtracted when the score is 0. Ryan, cuckoo, well, anyway, I only came to represent my class, so the rest is not my problem. Without saying anything else he went back into the island while his classmates boarded the boat. Chabashira, Sakagami, do you know what your student will do if he doesn't have points to survive the remaining days? He said this while looking at Sakagami. Sakagami, no idea, although Ryan is like that all the time. He said this with a smile. Hoshinomiya, I feel sorry for you Sakagami-kun. He said this in a mocking tone, although Sakagami, being the Chad that he is, didn't even pay attention to it. Off-screen. While the students and teachers watched as Class C had spent all their points and as the sunset slowly enveloped the island as they watched them walk with their things in hand. Shinohara, but where are they going? He said this without remembering the rules Lord had said from the beginning. Ike, it seems like they are retreating, said Ike. Yes, Ike, the same guy who hadn't even paid attention to the rules because he was still studying and barely understood them. This guy just said what seemed right and was right, something that even Koenji and Lord himself were surprised by this turn of events. Lord's mind is shit, Ike grew more neurons. I think studying did him good, or maybe I should apply this to all the Ikes in all the universes, although of course it would be a hellish study. While I was thinking this, the other students started talking. Horikita, after spending all your points, you'd leave the island. That was so obvious that even a primary school child would know it, he said in a cold tone as if he despised the intelligence of his classmates. Horikita, that coldness of yours is funny when you humiliate Shinohara or another defect. Horikita's words annoyed most of her classmates, but she didn't even care what they thought, though she didn't notice how her brother looked at her in disappointment. Before anyone could speak, a loli jumped in front of them. Sakianaji, fufu one floor teaching another floor, how ironic. He said this with a mocking tone that annoyed Horikita, although the latter remained silent, but with her brow furrowed by Sakianaji's words. Everyone watched as Class C headed to the ship where the teachers were. Sakianaji, fufu Ryan-kun, how nice of you to let your classmates withdraw from the test. He said this with his typical smile. Koenji, ho the lullajol is right Dragon Boy, I didn't believe you capable of being merciful. He clearly already sensed what Ryan was planning, although for the moment he wouldn't ruin the surprise. What Koenji said made Sakianaji angry because of the nickname loli, although Ryan was also annoyed because Koenji kept calling him that nickname, but he couldn't find the opportunity to get more angry as he lowered at Sakianaji's nickname. Ryan, lullajol kukuku, that nickname suits you well Sakianaji, although a crippled loli would suit you better. What Ryan said made Sakianaji even angrier, although the latter didn't say anything, not noticing that Lord was also holding back his laughter. Katsuragi, then you will withdraw your companions and you will stay Sothat. You can give me the information. Not bad Ryan, Katsuragi said this ignoring the small dispute. Ryan, of course Johnny, or however you thought I would get the names off the leaders, use your head, although now it's brilliant kukukuku. Ryan's comment got a laugh from most of the room and made Katsuragi a little angry. 2 end-grade students, ha that was fun. 3 Regia students, that Kohai is very funny ha. Both second and third laughed non-stop, although that didn't exclude the first years. Sudu, damn ha I don't want to laugh at a damn joke from Ryan, but ha that was funny. Sudu was annoyed for laughing at something Ryan said, although that didn't stop his laughter. Yamauchi, ha his head is so bright it looks like a mirror. He said this almost shouting because of the laughter he felt. Ike, ha you're right Haruki, I asked if I'd use shampoo. This second comment made everyone laugh a little more. Katsuragi's faction tried not to laugh, but little by little they couldn't. Even others like Horikita, Ikanos, Kanzaki, Shiraishi and the teachers found it a little funny. After a few seconds, the students calmed down, although still smiling from the previous incident. Shiraishi's mind, that was wrong, but it was a little funny, but from what I saw on the screen it's already very evident that Ryan doesn't plan on giving up on the exam. He analyzed this, coming to the best possible conclusion. Morishido's mind, Kohei Katsuragi will be betrayed. Not even his Cleanshaven head that looks like a crystal sphere allows him to see Kakaru Ryan's plan. Lord, ha ha ha, that was fun, but let's continue, students, Lord said, causing them to return their attention to the screen. Inside the screen. Location, uninhabited island forest, second day of survival, midnight. As the starry night enveloped the island hours ago, many students from different classes watched the stars from their camps. Class B was stargazing while roasting marshmallows. Some students from Class D were enjoying the sunset while others were sleeping. Class A was sleeping on Katsuragi's orders. He saved one. Meanwhile, in an unvisited part of the forest, the leader of Class C, Ryan, was warming himself by a campfire, although he was not alone. Ryan, cuckoo, so you will betray your own class. I suppose you are from the Sakyanuji faction. This was said to the student of Class A who was in the darkness, preventing him from seeing his face, although Ryan already knew who it was. Hashimoto, that's right, if Katsuragi loses this exam, Sakyanuji will bait a new leader, she said while looking at Ryan. Hashimoto, our class leader, is Yahiko Totsuka. Hashimoto's words made Ryan laugh, although he saw that his words were not a lie. Ryan, cuckoo, I'll believe you then. Anyway, I already suspected that guy who always hung around Katsuragi like a dog. This made Hashimoto laugh a little, and after a few seconds he spoke. Hashimoto, okay then I'm leaving. I don't want them to notice I'm not at camp. Without saying anything else, he started walking away towards his camp. Ryan, cuckoo, you are a snake, Hashimoto, that pleases me. With a maniacal smile he watched as Hashimoto walked away. Off-screen. Everyone was admiring what they saw, a starry sky that was calming and comforting. Monobu's mind, one of the things you can enjoy in the countryside, is simply beautiful. As he thought this, he unconsciously gave a smile that went unnoticed. Ikanos, what a beautiful starry sky, he said as he admired the sky he saw on the screen. Sheena, the dusk is so beautiful it reminds me of White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky, one of my favorite books, she whispered tenderly, though it melted the hearts of those close to her like a bouquet. Koenji, what a beautiful natural beauty Mother Earth gives us, although the first natural beauty is obviously me, most ignored his narcissistic words. Sakura, it's a very beautiful view, she said, whispering nervously, wanting no one to hear her, although her classmate Hasabi, who had been sitting next to her since yesterday's incident, could hear her. Hasabi, you're right Sakura-san, the starry view on the screen is very beautiful, he said this to Sakura. The latter was embarrassed since Showa-san that used to talking to people. Karuizawa, it's too beautiful. I have to take pictures. As she said this, she took out her cell phone to take pictures of the screen, being followed by her other friends. Horikita's mind, it's a very beautiful thing to admire. What am I thinking? I should be thinking about how to reach Nissan. Kushida's mind, what a beautiful starry sky, I'd like to enjoy it while I can watch my classmates suffer and see that bitch Horikita expelled. Lord, who was reading her thoughts, held back his laughter. Shiraishi, the stars are so beautiful that I wouldn't tire of looking at them every day, he said while admiring and enjoying the stars on the screen. Sakyanuji, I must admit you're right Shiraishi-san, the world is still very beautiful sometimes fu. Morishita, the brightness of the sky is as beautiful as the marches of answer fireflies near a river. Asterisk, what deep thoughts, it really inspired me ha 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 asterisk. While most students and teachers enjoyed what they saw, some students didn't think much of it. Yamauchi, how boring, he said this out loud, drawing everyone's attention. Ike, what's so special about the stars? Just like Yamauchi, they said this without any interest in what they saw. The words of those two caused annoyance to some, but to stop them from bothering him further, Lord silenced them with tape with a snap of his fingers while their hands were tied to prevent them from removing them. Lord, you look prettier when you keep quiet. Although the last part of the saying isn't true for you, ha ha ha, Lord's words provoked a few laughs from everyone, which embarrassed Ike and Yamauchi. While this was happening, they were simultaneously watching each class spend the night. Some like Ikanos had a smile seeing how her class was having fun, others like Class A were sad to see that they could not enjoy that beautiful night, and others like Class D were with divided opinions. Some looked at the screen with indifference and others with a smile. Although that soon took a backseat as they saw Ryan warming himself with a campfire in a remote part of the island while a dark shadow was talking to him. Katsuragi, but what's going on, he said with a bit of annoyance in his voice since he heard that the student was from Sakiyanagi's faction, and that was not good. Katsuraga's faction, how dare someone betray our class, they said, annoyed by the turn of events. Sakiyanaji, so someone from my faction betrayed Katsuragi-kun, but who could it be? Even though he said this, I already knew for sure it was Hashimoto. Ryan, cuckoo, it seems that not everyone follows you like faithful dogs, Johnny. Some follow the crippled lowly cuckoo. Ryan's words made Class A even more annoyed, although some like Sakiyanaji were annoyed by the nickname Ryan told her again. Shiraishi, so someone in our class betrayed us and gave the leader's name to the enemy class, she said this calmly since she didn't like class conflict. Morishita, Katsuragi Kohei really fell for that trick, just like his hair, and Morishita's words made the students laugh a little. Although after that, everyone heard Ryan on the screen address the student as Hashimoto. The Katsuragi faction's annoyance directed their anger at Hashimoto. Katsuragi, so you were the one who revealed our leader, he said angrily while looking coldly at Hashimoto. Katsuragi's faction, damn snake, how dare you betray the class, they said, directing murderous glares at Hashimoto. Hashimoto, sorry, it's not personal, I'm just following orders, he said this nonchalantly, which made most of his class even angrier. Sakiyanaji, good job Hashimoto-kun, you did an excellent performance in the future, he said this with his typical smile. Hashimoto, you're welcome, princess, it's my duty to serve you, he said with his usual attitude while thinking about something. Hashimoto's mind, as long as I'm on the winning side, I'll be able to graduate from Class A with ease, Hashimoto's thoughts were read by Lord. Lord's mind, poor Hashimoto, that strategy isn't as effective in the future. Lord looked at Hashimoto with amusement, imagining wha'll feel when he sees what will happen next. Koenji's mind, that look Lord Boy had towards Snake Boy was very intriguing, but I'm not interested, the same arrogance as always while admiring himself in his mirror. Lord, well, let's continue. I'll move forward a few days so it won't be so long. Without saying anything else, Lord moved forward to day 5 of the exam. While little by little the image was shown on the projector showing the days remaining until the completion of the exam.